There's conventions in printmaking for a reason, and one of them is how you're setting up your actual station. And it's so you keep everything as clean as possible. If you get ink on your hands and you're handling your prints, you're going to get ink all over your prints, and we don't want that. So ink is kept on the top, as well as your palette knife. The brayers, or the rollers, which is how you're applying the ink, are kept at the top. Why am I putting them upside down?
So that the ink don't get on the table?
Yes, so the ink doesn't get on the table. There's another reason, I don't think why.
So you don't get it
And
on yourself?
the dust on the table may get stick to the print, the ruler,
Yes.
and it may
Yes.
affect the quality of the print.
Exactly. So when the ink dries, it's going to dry and make a crust on the brayer. And if you can't get that off when washing it, then it's going to compromise the flatness. We want that nice smooth roll. It's going to compromise the smoothness of the actual brayer, and it's going to cause flaws while you're applying the ink to your plate. Okay, so we're always keeping them up. Even if there's no ink on it, we're going to do that just to be safe. So we have our plate, our ink, our rollers, our plexiglass. This is nothing special. You can use a piece of tile, really anything actually, piece of wood. Something smooth that you can spread the ink on. When our plate is uninked, it's kept on the left side. When we're inking it, it moves to the right side. So we're inking here, and then we're using our registration block. So we'll get to that in a second. Move my thing back. You guys are doing 3 prints for each color. So you're going to need quite a bit of ink. I'm just going to spread it. Do a little bit more. I'm going to spread it onto. I already got ink on myself. We don't want that. If you do get ink on yourself, go wash your hands immediately. I'm going to run and grab a paper towel quickly. I don't want to ruin our prints. Okay, my hands are clean again. I'm going to get my paper out. And how many prints are we making? 3. So I'm going to number the back of my papers 1, 2, 3, so I know which one I'm printing first every single time. So then that will be the back of my paper, and I'll move that over to the printing station. To spread the ink, we take the brayer, and we roll over the ink. And we're going to roll in different directions. And we're keeping the ink in the center of the plexiglass. If you start rolling off, not only are you going to make a mess, but you're going to spread the ink too thin, and you'll just have to keep applying more and more ink and use up all the ink on your fingers. So do you hear that nice crackly sound? That's the sound we want to hear. And we want the ink to look even, and it needs to be shiny. When it's shiny, that means it's wet. Yellow is the thickest consistency, so it may not look that shiny. So you may need to pick it up and double check. The black is the thinnest ink, so it can cover all of the other inks as you're layering it. So it's going to look very shiny, and it's going to be easier to spread. So we have our crackling. It looks even and it looks shiny. We're going to do the same thing now that we have ink on the brayer. We're going to do the same thing and apply the ink by rolling onto our print. So I think I need to get more ink because it's starting to look thin over here. So I'm going to go back. And maybe I'll rotate this to a different angle. And I'm going in different directions, making sure that there's enough ink applied on all sections of my plate. So that's looking pretty even. Yes. We're putting our brayer down, up, and we're ready to print. There's one common flaw while printing, and we're going to demonstrate it now. And that's if you have a piece of hair or a lint or something either on your paper or on your plate. So we're going to use a piece of soft oleum. So maybe we didn't clean and brush off all the soft oleum off our plate. So I'm going to put that right up there. And I don't notice it. So I'm going to put my print or my plate into my registration block. What did we go over with registration blocks yesterday? Why is it so important?
The number you like start with, you always use that one number?
Yes.
Because like they are handmade, like and they are, like all the pieces are not equal, and they once we if we use different, we may get a double printing order.
Yes.
like,
So if you're not using the same one, then when you apply the red on top of the yellow or the black on top of the red and yellow or turquoise, then your print is not going to line up and it's going to be offset, and we don't know how bad it's going to be because, like he said, these are handmade. Another important thing about the registration blocks is that you pay attention to which orientation you're putting your registration block in. So let's say I pick this orientation and my mouth is up, but the next time I print, or the next color I print, I put the mouth down, and then I put my paper on the same way. What's going to be the issue?
it's going to be up like the ink.
Yes. You're going to have one layer one way, and then another layer the other way, and that's not going to work. So you really need to pay attention. Whatever way you print first is the way you print every single time you print. I would suggest even taking a picture. Once you have your plate inked and you have it in the registration block, take a picture so you know I have number 1. I have registration block number 1 or number 4, whichever number. And you're also going to see the orientation. So my fish's mouth is going up. And this person has also somewhere put number 1 on the back of their plate, which is really important. So we're ready to print. We think we're ready to print. We have that chunk of soft oleum on there, which is going to cause us a lot of headaches. So we're going to cover the paper over very carefully. I try to line it up with the bottom first, and then carefully lay it on top. And then we're going to press down. This action is called burnishing. So you're doing circular motions, pressing down with your hand. Once I know the print's lied flat, then I use kind of the flat part of my fingers to put more pressure on it. How do I know we're doing a good job? Just like with the paper plans on our soft oleum, I'm going to pull up, I'm going to peek. There's still lots of ink on the plate. I'm going to push down. How are we doing over here? Oops, that's not worth my thing. I think we need more pressure over here. So I'm going to continually check. But if I check over here, what's the issue?
But the piece which was like that spot, there is no ink.
Yes, wherever those little pieces are going to cause flaws, and those are called halos. So I made a very exaggerated example yesterday. This one's super exaggerated. They might not be that bad, but there's a way to fix that. We're going to carefully pull up our paper and use tweezers to just pick out that piece, and then we're going to set it somewhere where we're not going to get ink on anything. So then we're going to continue burnishing the area and hoping for the best because there's nothing else we can do at this point. What we don't want to do is be inking when the plate is in the registration block. So I know I have a flaw there. I don't know how well it's going to end up. Actually, that's pretty good. But what I don't want to do is take the brayer and pull this up and just ink over it again. Because see all these marks here? This is from when people have that great idea to ink in the registration block, not realizing that their paper is going to be touching the areas of the registration block, and they're going to get ink all over their paper, and whoever's printing after you is also going to get ink all over their paper. We don't want that. So to get our print off of the plate, we're going to pull up in one fluid motion. And we need to hold that down. So there's our first print done. And we're going to dry them by putting tape in the opposite corner and sticking it up there. Is that pretty clear?
Yeah.
Again, is it making more sense now that we're seeing it? Okay. Once we're done, we're going to clean up. This needs to be washed, but of course we would have finished our second and third print for yellow. So that needs to be washed. Our brayer needs to be washed. We're going to keep that up there though, so we don't want to spread ink anywhere. But the tweezers need to be washed as well because we picked off that inclusion, that little piece of stuff. But we're also going to scrape up as much ink as we can, and it comes up pretty easy. And then we're going to put it right back into the container because it should not be contaminated because we've been so diligent at keeping everything clean. And then anything you need to wash just gets washed in the sink with water, nothing fancy. Okay, so when we're done all of our printing, so we've printed yellow, red or turquoise, and black. How many times have we printed?
See, no.
Trick question, remember? 9, yes. So we've printed 3 times yellow, 3 times red or turquoise, and 3 times black. Do you see how I got some yellow on the block? It didn't show up here, so that was a happy accident. But it's very, very easy to let those kind of contaminate your print and get all those splotches on. So now I know that section is easy to hit with when I'm inking my plate. So now I'm going to carve that section away and see if that helps when I cut out the yellow and then go to print red. Okay? Another convention of printmaking is how we're labeling it. We went over this yesterday. Do we remember how that's done? Yes. Tail?
So you label what number, like which number it is out of 3. You put your...
Why? What is that number?
I used to addition.
Addition, yes.
Addition.
Okay, sorry, continue.
Then you put what the piece is called,
Yes,
or like
the
name
title.
of whatever animal you have. And then you put your first or last name. If you can't fit both of them because it's too long, then just put one or your initial.
Yes, exactly.